First, we've got breaking news out of Washington, D.C. Reports this weekend suggested that indictments would be handed down in the investigation of collusion between President Trump's campaign team and Russia. And indeed, indictments have been handed down this morning. We go right to NBC Justice correspondent Pete Williams for the very latest. Pete?
Well, it appears that they were actually handed in. Paul Manafort, a former campaign chairman for limitations. You bet.
Want to bring you the latest news outside of Washington, and that includes the continued allegations of sexual harassment dominating the headlines, more and more and more of them. Oscar-winning actor Kevin Spacey is now joining the growing list of people accused of sexual misconduct. He was accused overnight by fellow actor Anthony Rapp of a sexual advance when Rapp was just 14 years old. At a 1986 party in Spacey's apartment, Rapp told BuzzFeed, quote, "He picked me up like a groom picks up a bride over the threshold. But I don't like squirm away initially because I'm like, what's going on? And then he lays down on top of me. I was aware that he was trying to get with me sexually." Spacey responded on Twitter as follows, quote, "I'm beyond horrified to hear his story. I honestly do not remember the encounter. If I did behave then, as he describes, I owe him the sincerest apology for what would have been deeply inappropriate drunken behavior." Spacey chose this occasion to come out as a gay man, tweeting, "As those closest to me know, I have loved and had romantic encounters with men throughout my life, and I choose now to live as a gay man," in response to which many in the gay community said, "Absolutely not, not okay. Do not confuse being gay with being a pedophile," which is essentially what the journalist Mark Halperin, who once held a prominent position as head of politics for ABC News. We're going to speak exclusively to one of Halperin's accusers. This is the first time one of them has gone on camera in a moment. But first, more of her story.
It will be an existential crisis within the Republican Party.
Mark Halperin is known as a political insider, an author, a top political journalist.
That is where the mood of the country.
And until last week, a senior political analyst for NBC News. He stepped back from all of his work on Thursday when allegations surfaced that he had sexually harassed several women during his time as political director at ABC News from 1997 to 2007. Eleanor McManus is one of the women who has chosen to come forward. McManus penned an article for CNN.com describing her encounter with Halperin. McManus says she met Halperin at a political event in the late 1990s when she was a student at Brandeis University. She says he invited her to his office, saying he could provide career advice. She followed up on his offer, and this is how she describes that meeting. "I don't quite remember what we talked about, but I do remember him asking me to sit down next to him on the couch. I complied, and I also remember him sitting a little too close to me. At one point, I felt a bit too uncomfortable, and I stood up to thank him for the meeting. That's when he leaned in, tried to kiss me, and attempted to do a bit more. I didn't want to offend the man in charge of political programming at ABC News, and I tried to be courteous and apologetic, and practically ran out of the office." Halperin issued a statement Friday saying he's sorry for the pain he caused women. He says, in part, "I have recognized conduct for which I feel profound guilt and responsibility, some involving junior ABC News personnel and women just starting out in the news business. I recognized I had a problem. I didn't need a call from HR to know that I was a selfish, immature person who was behaving in a manner that had to stop." McManus is one of at least a dozen women who decided to share her story, so other women might find the courage to follow in her footsteps.
And Eleanor McManus is here with us. Eleanor, thank you for being here. I know this is not easy. What made you speak out?
Well, first of all, Megyn, this is not a comfortable place for me in the sense that I'm a behind-the-scenes person. I'm a former producer at CNN, and my life has always been behind the scenes, whether it was at CNN or whether it's, what I'm doing now with regards to advising people to tell their story. And something I've learned after all this is that everyone has a story, and I just want to be able to tell my story. And that's because after this happened last week, when I heard the news, I was angry. I was angry because I was silent, and because I was silent, this happened to other people. And I knew that was right away, that's when I was ready to come out and tell my story. Because these women, there are women that this happened to who did not pursue their career in journalism because of this incident. I did, and because these women didn't, that made me so angry and so sad. And these are women who could have been the next Jane Pauley, the next Andrea Mitchell, the next Christian Emanport, the next Megyn Kelly. And because of an incident they had with him, they left the business.
But you can't blame yourself. You don't blame yourself for that incident. You blame him. That is on him. You see that now, don't you? I
see that now, but you know, I thought it was my fault. And if there's one thing I think is so important for women to understand, that it's not their fault. You know, I thought maybe, was my dress a little too short? Did I smile a little bit too much? Did I say something to lead him on? And I think it's so important for women to understand today that it's not their fault. And the only thing we can do is to come out there and speak about this.
That's right.
Because I thought it was my fault. I never said anything, and I just never said anything.
That's just so women know that's a common strain in all these stories. The women always blame themselves. They ask themselves whether they asked for it in some way, because that's a message reinforced by society, and we need to stop that. You can wear a bikini to the office, and it doesn't make okay for your superior to hit on you. It does not. ABC News has come out with a statement saying Mark left ABC News over a decade ago, and no complaints were filed during his tenure. Is that good enough? I'm wondering where their apology is to the victims.
No, his statement didn't say much about the victims, did it? It didn't say anything about what he did to other people. You know, I was lucky because I was able to take that and be resilient and go on with it. But you know what? When I was at CNN, the one thing, I told my story to lots of people. And I knew that one thing I ever was going to do is make sure he never gets on the show that I worked at ever again.
But you watched him. You had to watch him ascend to, you know, considerable ranks of power within politics and media. How was that for you?
That was, I think, the most painful part, to see this person who really kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and no one called him out. And the worst part is also that, as I told people, other people knew. This was an open secret. Everyone knew this is the way he was, but the problem was that this was the normalization of the behavior. Mm-hmm. Everyone thought that's just normal.
This is the price of admission for young women wanting to get into politics or media, that you have to let somebody treat you this way.
Right, but unfortunately, and I think now finally the tide is changing, that finally people are realizing that, you know, first of all, this is not okay, and when you find out that, when you hear about these stories, come out and speak out. I think that's so important. If there's something that anyone can learn from what I did, why I'm here today, is just so women can understand not to be silent anymore and speak out and say something. And it's women and men. Because I told the story, and we all thought it was normal. It was just newsroom behavior. Mm-hmm. This is just what happens in newsrooms. And I think we need to understand that it's not the right thing.
I've been speaking to some of the Halperin accusers behind the scenes, too. And they're all scared. They're still scared that he is somehow going to stay in power and exact some sort of retribution on them. On that note, I want to tell the audience that NBC News confirmed this morning Mark Halperin's contract has been terminated. So that's the story here at NBC. Eleanor, you are brave. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Lots of love to you.
Hello, Today fans. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking that button down there and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives.